Good morning. It's Tuesday morning. It's exactly 7:30. I am starting my walk back to the start of the Florida Trail from here in Juniper Springs. It's cold. It was supposed to be in the mid-50s, but when I checked the weather this morning, it was 48 degrees, and I felt it. My sleep system worked very well, too well in fact. I was really warm. I had to keep opening up the sleeping bag and letting in some cold air and letting some heat out. So it looks like I got about 11, probably 12 miles with the hike inside the campground. A 12-mile hike. That blister on my left foot, my left heel, is bothering me a little bit. I put tape over it, so hopefully I'll just have to deal with it. After a while, hopefully they'll stop talking to me. Other than that, I feel good. My legs feel good. A little tight this morning. I stretched out a little bit, but hopefully we'll do well. I didn't set an alarm. I figured I'd wait a little bit. My tent is wet again from all the humidity because of the dropping temperatures, a lot of condensation. But I'm going to be making my way to the gate and then back to the Florida Trail, and hopefully in about 11 miles more I'll find the campground and I'll probably stop there for the day. So a shorter day, give my foot a chance to rest and heal up. And by far the suckiest moment of the morning was when I decided to put this shirt back on last minute. I was gonna hike in my nighttime shirt because it's dry, but I don't want it to smell bad like this shirt does. So I decided at the last minute to put this on, and it's freezing, it's cold, and it's wet still. It didn't dry out. I washed it last night and I didn't get enough sun on my campsite and it didn't dry. So I'm wearing a different pair of socks. I'm wearing my nighttime socks, but I wanted dry socks. That's like the one thing that I really like, having dry socks. And I'm gonna turn around so that you can see start. This is the booth for Juniper Springs. Not much to see, just a little shack going in, but it's really appreciative that it's here. And I gotta say, you can easily get sport where, you know, every night you have a bathroom. I decided to partake of the bathroom, so I won't have to dig a pit or a cat hole this morning. And that's when I decided to change my shirt while I was in there. It was warm enough. I figured it would give me a couple minutes. I took my jacket off. I was wearing my little fleece, which did keep me plenty warm as expected in case the temperature dropped. I decided to put it away. You always want to start cold. I know I'm going to warm up, the sun's going to come up, and then I would have to stop somewhere and then put it away. As it is, I barely have enough room for all the stuff, that I'm tucking into pockets because I had outside. So I'll just start hiking and I'll warm up as I go, and hopefully this shirt will dry out as I hike the day. So coming to the Florida Trail here. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see it. And there we are. And we're going to start again. I'll check in a little later. I'm going to put this away. And I'm at mile 441.8 on the Florida Trail. I've come to the sign that says the Juniper Prairie Wilderness. So I'm walking back into this as I continue going northbound. It is now, I've been hiking for about 45 minutes. I've done 2 miles already from my campsite, and it's about 8 o'clock. It's almost 8 o'clock. So I'll check in a little while. You can definitely tell the terrain changed from the sand pines to, more shorter bushes and shrub. I'm not sure what type of bush this is or whatever, but you can definitely tell the sand pines pretty much have died out, and it's more open. The canopy isn't as high, it's much lower. We're talking 10-12 feet as opposed to like 20-30 feet. So the day's starting to warm up a little bit, but as you know, when you're in the trees, you generally don't get as much sun. It takes a little longer till the sun goes up higher and it warms up. And sometimes if you're in between, taller things like trees around you from a further distance until that sun gets high enough, it's not going to warm up. But feel good. Legs are doing well. I've been averaging, at least for that first mile and a half, I was doing good, almost 3 miles an hour. So it felt good. Legs feel fine. Just that blister is, a dull reminder constantly that I should heed my own advice. And when I felt it rubbing yesterday, or I felt that it might have been something, I should have stopped and probably treated it. But I'm paying for it. So, but it's negligible. Other than that, not much else is going on. Lots of sign from deer. I can't tell if that was a bear print or not. I've seen some scat here and there. I'm not sure from what. Could have been a dog. I saw one that was probably definitely a bear because there were lots of seeds and berries kind of mixed in, but the other one I thought was a dog or a person maybe, who knows. I don't, anything's possible here. But I've seen a lot of, obviously, deer tracks all up and down the trail. It's all sand, so the prints stay for a while. I know it rained. I don't know if it rained here, but it rained about 2 days ago, so most prints are probably pretty new within the last 2 to 3 days. So, okay, that's it for now. At mile marker 44.3, you'll come across this creek. I think it's called Whispering Creek. I got to look at the book again. I haven't seen a blaze for quite a while, but I admit I was probably in the zone and wasn't paying attention. But you have a trail going off to the right. Obviously, there's something across the way there of the creek, and there's a trail going off to the left. And it's really not very clear where you're supposed to go. But from what I can gather, and I'm hoping I'm right because I'm about to bet on it, is you have to go across the creek over here. So you come out over here and then you got to go across here. It looks like somebody's put this branch here or a tree trunk as kind of like a bridge, and I'm hoping it's good enough to hold me. So I'm either getting really wet or I'm going to get across. So, but no blaze. So, and obviously I made it across without getting wet. Ta-da! But really it would be great if there was a sign or something here, because I think it is very confusing. That trail on the other side might just be going to a little camping area or something someone's made, like a stealth camping area. But I'm going to continue on here and hope that I'm right. And hopefully I'll see a blaze. Up, and there we have a blaze. It's really faded. It looks like a blaze. Yeah, there is. The blaze is high, so I guess you can see it from the, but it's really faded, as you can tell. It's barely noticeable. You'd have to get closer. In the sunlight, I didn't see it at first. So, okay, happy to be still on the trail. Check in a little while. Okay, it's 9:05. I've gone just over 5 miles today, so I'm moving pretty good. Still walking along. I come to this bridge of sort, not very well made, but good enough to get you across with your feet dry, which is appreciated. Thank you, whoever did this. Trail maintenance with the clubs. So at this pace, I'm hoping to reach there in, well, if I can do another 5, we'll say it's 6 miles. So if I could do that, maybe by 11:30, I'll be at the campground. That would be great. I need to dry out all my stuff. Everything's still wet. And I'm drying all the shrubs along the trail. Some places it's wide like this, but a lot of places it's pretty close. And my pants are totally wet from brushing up against all the plants in the morning, and all the dew seems to have an affinity for my pants. So that's it right now. Keep moving, but it's been predominantly like this. No wet spots, fortunately. There was a couple of spots right along the prairie where you're very close to the water that it got a little, you could tell it was wet. wasn't quite muddy. It was still dry enough that it was firm. But I did get a little concerned. I'd really like to keep my socks and my shoes dry today. Although hopefully I'll have enough time at camp to dry everything out. I'm using my backup pair of socks that I planned on sleeping in, but I haven't used because my sleeping bag is so warm that I'm not really cold at night. So I haven't used them, so I decided to hike with them. They are a little bit thinner than the socks I usually hike in. So I just tightened my shoes a little bit, and we'll see what happens. That blister has kind of stopped reminding me it's there as I've been hiking. So we'll see how it's doing when I get to camp. I'll probably end up may just leave it alone. I definitely won't be taking a shower tonight. I don't think there's any showers there. But more or less I'll just leave my feet, let them heal. And hopefully, I'll be getting off the trail by the time that blister heals. So, but if it doesn't get any worse, I'll be really happy. As you can see, there's a deer on the trail. It's a buck. He's got antlers. He's young, and there he goes. Well, he's lucky I'm not a hunter. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? You can see these are his hoofprints, I should say, where he stopped. It's just amazing how he jumps over those bushes. That's got to be like a 5-foot jump. Incredible. Well, that's certainly the highlight of this trip so far. A little earlier, I heard some crashing in the brush next to me, and I didn't know if it was a bear or a deer. It sounds loud. You don't know. You picture something several 100 pounds. It could have been a little squirrel jumping from bush to bush for all I know, but it actually sounded bigger than that. But you have no idea what it is. But that's just amazing that that deer just jumped clear across both these shrubs rather than go through the trail. He just jumped. And it's amazing. I mean, those bushes got to be 4 feet, and it's pretty impressive. I've been seeing deer sign all morning. I mean, tons of footprints, or hoofprints, I should say, to be correct, on this trail. And it's just impressive, how much, I guess, animals are using this. You see tons of the prints, but to come across them that way. And amazingly for me, I actually got my phone out and was able to record before he fled. So I'm not the quickest person, and I have to unlock it. And then it didn't work the first time. My fingers are a little wet. So, but that is truly the highlight of this trip so far. I'm gonna definitely love that video. So you can see more of his footprint. So he ran along here for a little while, and I'm sure he got off the trail somewhere. But okay, check back in later. Well, I just arrived at Hidden Pond. You can see there's a spring that's feeding this pond. I also found, it looks like some people have been camping here in the past. I decided to stop and get a drink and have a little snack. I'm gonna have my caffeine for the morning with these sports beans. I guess they're growing on me. So they give you a nice boost, sugar obviously. I did have a bar after an hour on the trail at the 2-mile mark. It's 9:40 in the morning right now as I'm sitting here. I just had a drink, and I've done 6.3 miles total. That's including mileage inside the camp. I got about another 5.9 to go to reach the campsite. So I'm pretty much at the halfway point for my hike in the morning, and I've been hiking for 2 hours and 26 minutes. So I'm looking at another 2.5 to 3 hours. Probably. I won't stay here long. So, because I like to get the mileage going. If I was smart, I'd spread out some of my stuff and dry it off, but I'm not that smart. I don't want to take the time, to be honest. So, but my shoulder's been hurting me from the pack. Just the way it lays on me, I seem to always get this problem. I don't know what I'm at weight-wise with the pack right now since I've eaten some food. but I know I was definitely exceeding the 25 pound recommendation that they give you for the pack. So I'm contemplating when I do the Pinhoti, I was thinking about it yesterday, maybe I'll go back to my Osprey pack. It's a little bit heavier, but it does carry a little bit more, a little better, and it does have better padding. But I always seem to get like an irritation on the shoulder. Last time I actually got a blister from the strap. It's just from it rubbing. Maybe I need to tweak the pack a little bit more. I thought it was feeling good, but it felt tight today. But, 3 days of hiking and movement can do that. I still can't get over that deer in the trail. That is just incredible. I'm pretty sure it came out on video pretty well. Just magnificent. Obviously, never would have expected that. Surprised me, I think, as much as I surprised him. So, yeah, I've been more worried about surprising something else like a bear. Deer usually run, so I'm not too worried about them. But that pretty impressive. I'm glad that happened. And I'm surprised because I'm making noise. I walk along. A lot of times I whistle, or I hum. A lot of times I'm whistling though, just to make enough noise. Obviously, beside the clack of my poles, and I don't think I'm really breathing labored enough here that I'm scaring any animals off. But I did put the headphones on a little while ago. I happen to be listening to a podcast, so I figured, I'll whistle. Because even when I walk, sometimes I just talk to myself, just to make noise. Don't want to scare the animal and surprise them. It's nice to see them, but I don't want to surprise them because, a bear, if you frighten it, it could lash out. Deer will usually just run. So I wasn't too worried about him. But that was impressive. Okay, I'm going to finish up these beans. I got about 4 left. Take another drink. And then I'm going to hit the trail again. I'm sorry, I'm looking off at the pond over here. I'm not sure what type of bird it is, but he's like circling and circling. He comes down and he disappears, and he came back, and I was looking to see if he was going to stalk something, but he just flew off, and now he didn't come back. So I was going to try and take a video of him as well, or take a photograph, but unfortunately he's gone. He never came down. I thought he might have been hunting something. I was going to see if I was going to get a moment here. But that's it. I guess there's a hidden pond trail over here. I was told it was closed. I don't know how physically they can close it. But I know the ranger made a point of letting me know that trail was closed. I don't know why it's closed. I didn't really find out. I didn't care because I have no aspiration of doing any extra miles off this trail. There's that, and there's another trail, I think, to like Pat's Island or something they were telling me about that I'd never heard of. I'll have to research it a little bit. But no, I'm not going to do an extra 2-3 miles to go see some sights, at least not at this point. So, I do probably need to learn to do that, take advantage of the opportunity when it comes along. And that's part of the reason, we do this, or get out and change things, or just living life. Sometimes an opportunity comes along, you have to take it. But, we all make choices. So, but still having a great time, enjoying myself. It's nice to get out. Still haven't totally separated from the real world, as they say, because it's not that long. It's only this day 3. It'll be over before I know it, and I'll be back on driving schedule and doing things. So, but appreciate that I'm able to do this. As always, a lot of my videos, I just say we're so fortunate. We live in a great country that we're able to do this. I'm fortunate enough to have a great family. Obviously, my wife and my kids, but my wife is very supportive, allowing me time to go off and do these by myself. I can't ever thank her enough for being understanding and supportive of this. It's not as common as I think it is. I work with a lot of people, and I hear other people, and I don't think that their spouses would be as supportive as my wife is, or some of the other people I know that do hiking or just different hobbies that you have. She's always been very supportive, you know, and she's one of my best cheerleaders in that way. You know, never, oh, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, or no, you can't, I'm not going to let you do that. It's always, you know, okay, you know, of course you can do it and have a good time, you know. So I appreciate that more than she knows. Probably something we all need to do is thank that person that's supporting us a little bit more than we probably do. So, okay, enough of my philosophical moment and getting deep in my thoughts. So I'm going to get going. It's 9:46 and I'm going to hike again. I don't know what I'll come across or record. So I know I got to fill in the time somehow, but I don't think you want to see me just B-roll kind of stuff with walking down the trail anymore. At least I feel like I don't want to turn back and walk sometimes. I'm a lazy hiker. I don't want to do the same part twice. I'm trying to get into it, but sometimes it's hard. And, you know, obviously I'm not going to, like, how many times do you want to see me set up my tent or cook my food? You know, I'll do a little bit more of that at camp. So I don't think this campsite is like the other ones. I don't think it's a formal campsite that you drive in with RV sites and tent sites and, you know, water spigots everywhere and showers. I think this one might be a little bit more remote, but I'm not exactly sure. So, you know, you do so much research, sometimes it all flows into each other. So, but see you down the trail. I'm about a mile, 0.8, 0.7 away from Hopkins Campground. Just saw 2 more deer in the trail, but I was whistling and I stopped them and they ran. One broke left, one broke right. So this is pretty much the trail. You can see there's a slight rise to it as I'm coming toward the Hopkins Campground. I don't know what happened, but at some point the recording stopped. I don't know exactly where. So, but other than that, there's been a couple of sections where you have to scramble over, like a fallen tree or a log actually blocking the trail, and you're just going around it if you can, or if not, you just climb over the trunks and the leaves and, you know, you pick your way. But other than that, it's been very well navigable, I guess I could say. There's only a handful of spots where you really had to do that, and nothing I think would deter someone or stop someone from being able to make it. So there's a couple of sections that probably could use some remarking. Some of it's been amazingly well marked, and then a couple of sections, you know, where I came out and it wasn't quite apparent, and I showed you one of those by I think it was Lost Lake or whatever. You know, it'd be nice if there was just a sign or some sort of markings that I could see readily. Like here, you know, you're seeing one on the tree. It's nice, it's vibrant, and you can see it from far back. There's no guesswork. But there's been 2 or 3 places where I've had to look around and maybe make sure I was on the right trail, or even start walking and then I check the app to make sure that I actually am on the trail. But I have not, knock on wood, let me find a tree. Knock on wood, I have not yet taken a wrong path, so I've done no extra mileage or gotten lost. So that's a good thing. You know, nothing better than, you know, as much as I like hiking, you really do love coming into your tenting side of your campsite, taking off your pack and knowing that you did your work for the day. And, you know, sometimes I attack this almost like it's work, you know, it's a job. I'm going to do 8 hours hiking today, or whatever it is I'm doing. I'm not going to be doing 8 hours, but, you know, it's my job. When I'm out here, you got to think that way. So I decided to take the side trail off of the trail to this sinkhole that's over here, and I took a picture of it from across the way, but it's filled in, so it's like a swimming hole, I guess. And the sad part is it's right near the road that I crossed, that fire road, so you could basically park your car and walk right here, very short. So I imagine people come here a lot on the weekend. They use it like a swimming hole. I saw there was a rope hanging from one of the trees, and you can see there's some beer cans and a box of beer, but there's some like steps leading down to it. So I guess you have to be a little careful. But I imagine, you know, you come in here in the summer and you want to cool off, whatever. And there you can see there's a tree over there with a rope hanging from it. There's like a little slided area there with sloped in. So, and there's wood over here. So I don't know when that came to be, if they shorted it up or maybe there was something here at one point. But I usually don't take side trails too much. But since it was 0.1, and I took a picture from it on the other side that you can see in the far end of the little pond here. So I'm going to go back to the trail now and continue my hike. Here's a flat area. This is like a prairie, or I don't know if this fills up with water or this is a sinkhole itself from years ago, but there's a moderate depression obviously in the land here. But it's dry as could be. Keep walking. I got about 0.8 of a mile to the campsite, I hope, or the trailhead. Okay, I've made it to the campground. I'm at the host's site. Doesn't seem to be back in his RV. So I'm taking the opportunity. I'm waiting until he returns, hopefully, so I can get a campsite here. And I decided to lay out my tent and some of my stuff and hopefully let it dry in the sun. So it's hot out here. It's getting warm, no doubt about it. But beautiful prairie with the water in there. There's not much here. There is a, looks like a pit toilet. And I think there's a pump or a well for water, which I guess doesn't taste too good, the hunters were saying. But one good note is they told me that I'm the only person they've seen that's hiking wearing orange. And as hunters, they appreciate that. So that made me feel good, you know. But, you know, I wore orange for a reason. It is hunting season. And the fact that they noticed it right away, and they said they've come across other people eating out on boats or, you know, doing fishing or whatever, or walking along the trail with no, you know, orange gear at all. And they actually made the comment, wow, at least you're wearing orange. You're the only person we've seen. So that means they noticed it. And I appreciate them noticing it because obviously I did it intentionally. So it shows that it is appreciated by the hunters. So, you know. And I appreciate being seen because I don't want to be mistaken for an animal. Hi, greetings from Hopkins Prairie Campground at mile 451.2 on the Florida Trail in the Ocala National Forest. It's almost 2 o'clock, so an early day for me, which my feet will appreciate. I walked about 12.9 miles today total. Plus a little more in the campground just now. But on the trail, more or less getting here, I did take that little side trail for another 0.1 or 0.2. But I'm all set up. Got my camp set up, my tent set up. My air mattress is filled, so I'm all set for the rest of the day. It's quite breezy here. I saw some hunters here. They asked me, I told them my story about the deer. I showed them the video. They haven't seen anything but 2 bears. But they haven't seen any deer in the last 2 days, and they're hunting for like a total of like 5 days. So I told them where I saw deer, but the deer sign are everywhere. So, this campground is beautiful because it's kind of secluded. There are some good spots. I should have walked down a little further, but I stopped over here. I'm right next to the water, and I got a garbage can over there. So those are important to me. There's a toilet here. It's a pit toilet. Other than that, there's nothing else. There's no other services. The water is kind of yellow. It does taste like rust, so not the best. I flavored it, but it still comes through. So, but I'm very happy to be here. I'm going to relax a little bit. Tomorrow I have a longer day. I'm looking at 14 miles or so, maybe 15 to the 88 store, where I'm hoping to get some cold drinks, some good water, and we'll see what else I get. Maybe I'll get a meal there. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm just going to enjoy. I'm going to take my shoes off, my socks off. I'm going to inspect my feet. I want to see how that blister is doing. And I'm just going to relax until I decide to have some dinner. Probably in another 2.5 hours. Maybe I'll even take a nap. You never know. But all my stuff is pretty much dried out. I got my socks to go. They're the last thing. I really don't have a lot of sun in this site, so, but I'll give you a brief tour. So obviously you can see behind me is the prairie, and it's beautiful. And I do have a neighbor that just pulled up in that RV. He's got a nice dog who likes catching frisbees. He's got about 20 of them, and he throws them, and the dog fetches them all. But that's the site. I love these old trees with all the moss and hanging down from them. It's great. There's some hunters on the other side as well that I spoke to earlier. And then there's a couple more around the corner on the main road to the caretakers. And you can hear their generator going. I'm sure they'll shut that off tonight. But other than that, it's really secluded. It's primitive here. So you got to really, bring your stuff or want to get away. If I was coming here, I'd probably bring some water, so I don't have to use the water from the well, because it is yellow. I'll put a picture in that I took of my bladder, and it looks yellow. It's like I know I'm filtering it, but I don't want to. It's not bad. So this is what the water looked like. I added blueberry flavoring to it, so it's not quite as yellow in this, but of course I have the blueberry in there. I'm saving my last bit of water from the last springs for dinner tonight, so it won't have any metallic taste. Greetings. It's about 20 minutes to 4. It's starting to get a little cooler as the sun's going down. You can feel a little bit of a breeze, and the temperature is definitely dropping. It's supposed to go back into the upper 40s tonight. I was able to get some signal and check the local weather, and it looks like it's going to be in like 48 degrees or at least 50 or so. So planning for another cold night. One of the towns nearby is showing 55 as a low overnight, but I guess my thing is saying 48. I'll go with 50, 55. That's good. I've decided I'm going to have Mountain House beef stew tonight. I happen to like beef stew. I've been saving the last of my water from the springs, which doesn't taste like metal, and I'll drink that. I'll use that to make it. So I'm probably going to make dinner pretty soon. I was thinking 4 o'clock, and uncharacteristically, I might even make a fire tonight. I did gather some wood. There's a lot of dead wood around here. I might make a very brief fire. I'm contemplating a hot chocolate as well, and then I think I'm going to climb into the tent and lay down, and maybe I can get some sleep tonight. Most nights when I'm camping, I really don't sleep very well. I get too hot, and I have to take open up the sleeping bag and then cover it back up. So we're going to make the mountain house. I'm not going to show you the prep. You've seen me make food now, I think 2 times. That's more than enough. I won't torture you. But I just wanted to show you, this is what the water looks like in my bag. And you can see it's got like a yellow tinge to it. So it's a little concerning, obviously, but you can see there's some stuff probably in there. I don't know, little bubbles, whatever, but it's definitely colored yellow. I took water at the springs the other day. It wasn't that way, and I filtered it through normally. And I just want to show you what it looks like when it's filtered, though. So you can see that it does a very good job at removing some of those objects in there. The water looks virtually clear. However, it still has a metallic taste. So it is what it is. And hopefully no animals come by. We are right near the canal. I guess gators are possible. I don't know if deer come through here or bear come through here as well. They do have bear lockers for garbage, but surprisingly they don't have them in the campsites. Although at the caretaker's site, they must have had at least 15 or so bear lockers for food, like at other campsites. So I don't know if they had them and they removed them, or they're getting them and they're going to install them. It's hard to tell. Or something else happened maybe and they took them out. So I'm not sure. I guess maybe if someone else knows, they could let me know. Or perhaps maybe they're going to have bear lockers at each site in the future. So, but there are some really nice sites here. I went all the way to the back. I'm in site number 13. I kind of picked it just because it's near the water, and I saw there's garbage next to me, and the bathroom is not too far. Those hunters are on the corner, so I know they'll probably be up a little bit. I'm sure they're probably going to stay up a little later. So, but there was no one down on this end. The RV just showed up a little while ago, and I did take a walk around the loop. There's about 4 more sites. There's a really beautiful one in the middle, great for an RV because it has room for an RV to pull in. But even a tent site, it's really big. It's probably one of the larger sites here, and it's totally surrounded by hedges, and it's got a canopy of trees. It's really a beautiful site. If I was to come back here, I'd probably try to grab that one. It's a little further down, probably another 4 minutes walk, but it wasn't bad at all. And it looks like there's another tent camper all the way at the very end, the very last site that there is on. There's like a loop road, and it comes right back, and looked like he was there. Other than that, most of the people are really RVers that I saw. There's probably about 4 or 5 RVs here. There's not much here. Just to let you know, if you want to stay at this campsite, it was $10 per site per day, and they take cash. I think they actually took checks too, surprisingly. If it's drawn on a US bank, it said, but it's cash and there's no change. So luckily I happened to catch the caretaker at the box, what they call an Iron Ranger, where they have an envelope and you fill it out and you drop your money in. He happened to be taking it out, and he was able to make change for me because all I had was a $20 bill. I used up my last change that I had to pay for the parking because they don't make change there either. So a lot of these places don't have change. You have to have exact money, or if they'll take a credit card, obviously that's the easiest way to go. So luckily I was able to get exact change. Otherwise I was going to basically give him a $10 donation. It is a nice campground. It's just remote in the fact that the roads out here are not the best paved roads, and there's really little services here. There's no shower, there's no running water. It's from a pump. So if I was to probably bring my family, or if you want solitude, this is probably the way to go. If you'd like a little services, one of the other springs, even further up, Salt Springs, which I probably could have hiked to today, and has full service, and actually there's a town there nearby. I probably could have gone in and got a hotel, or there's a campsite as well with a spring, but I could have gotten food there. If I probably would have planned it differently in the future, if I was to do this again, so to say, right now, I might have done that, but it would have been another 6 or 7 miles of hiking, well within my ability, but I didn't really want to do that. I decided to make it. There are shorter days, and this is a more direct route. It's a side trail. It's about 2.5, I think 3 miles on a side trail to go to that Salt Springs, as well as additional travel up the road. So I would have had to not only go further and take that side trail, but I would have had to go further back in the next day. So I guess it would have been a bad idea. So maybe if I was to do this again, I might plan on doing that. Depending on how I'm feeling, I might push myself a little bit today, knowing that tomorrow, as long as I still was going to the 88 store, would be a shorter day. Or if you really wanted to and cut out a day, you could go to Salt Springs and probably either get a ride from there, leave a vehicle there. So I'm back here. I just had my dinner. This Mountain House Adventure Meals, the beef stew. It was actually quite good. There were a few pieces that didn't totally rehydrate and had like a funny feel to it as I ate it, but it was very tasty. It was good. It disappeared very quickly. I don't think it made it more than 5 minutes. So I would say that's a buy again as well. I was going to make some hot chocolate. I was thinking about it, but I'm worried about my gas now. I'm worried that I might not have enough gas to make the hot chocolate, and then I do have a meal I need to make tomorrow night. Hopefully I will be at the 88 store, so I probably can get food there, maybe, but I'm not sure. I don't want to assume anything, and I would hate to not be able to meet my last meal, which I have chicken teriyaki. So I'm hoping to be able to rehydrate that tomorrow. It's got my last meal, so it'll really lighten my load. I'm sure this thing has been getting lighter and lighter as I go along. So I'm gonna skip the hot chocolate tonight. Probably gonna skip the fire as well. And I think I'm just going to throw my garbage out in the bear canister. Probably put my bear vault somewhere over here on the grounds. And I think I'm going to just get in the tent. And it's early, but in another hour it'll be dark. And probably soon after that, I'll probably end up falling asleep. I seem to get my good sleep, you know, before midnight or so, and then I'm up from midnight to like 2 or 4. It's restless, and then last night from like 4 to 6 was out solid. So one more thing I wanted to do, I wanted to thank Mrs. Drew for getting me these wonderful accoutrements to my sneakers. As you can see, they go on the laces, and that was kind of my saying before, you know, you got to go out there and find your why you want to do this, why you want to go hike, why you want to explore. So she gave these to me right before the trip, so that was pretty interesting tidbit I thought I would add. They've been traveling with me the whole way. This is what the other one looks like. One of them says find your why, the other one has, you know, all different like mountains and stars and things like that, so related to hiking. So thank you, Mrs. Drew, for that. A caretaker's RV, I guess, with his dog in there, who was barking up a storm. Boy, accent was coming through there, huh? And then